So you're going to want your dream location, job in the military. This is going to navigate you through that process for the Navy. Stay tuned if you want to find out how that works. What is up, guys? You're tuning in to Nikki MGTV for another military video for all your military video needs. As always, you can hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below if you have questions. But as always, let's roll right to the topic, and that is picking orders for the Navy. There's a ton of great duty stations out there that include Rota, Spain, Naples, Italy, Yokosuka, Japan, Hawaii, San Diego. You know, there's a bunch. There's also some bad ones that people don't want, but this is going to navigate you through that. Obviously, people have to be stationed at the good ones, the bad ones, the in-betweens, and everything else. So stay tuned. I'm going to let you guys know how the process is going to work from an A school perspective and also from the perspective of coming from your first command to your next command, because I feel like that's a little bit more scary and not as guided for a lot of you people. So out of A school, this is going to vary on the A school. I can tell you right now, Corpsman A school does it on GPA, and then a month later, that information is incorrect because I've heard it change multiple times, and I've asked different people that have done different rates, how they selected their orders or how that worked, and some of them were all different. So there's three things that are going to happen if you're coming out of A school. The first is going to be either on GPA / some kind of point system. The second is they're just going to give them to you. And third, I've seen where they just straight talk to the detailer, or the detailer like gives a list and that's it, and they select off that list. Again, this should be noted that it is only based on what is available. So just because you only see Virginia on there or whatever might happen to come up, I'm sorry, but that might be where you end up, and that kind of happened for my A school for me. But yeah. My first advice of picking orders out of A school is, first off, don't pick home. I get so annoyed by this. You've been away from home for maybe a couple months. Give it a break. Nothing's really changed in a couple months. I promise you, you'll have 30 days leave to go back home and visit family, explore the world, explore new people, explore yourself as a person. Many of you guys are in your early 20s. Get a little confidence under your belt that you know how to, quote unquote, adult, what we call it in 2019. Is learning how to adult, learning how to be yourself, and also learn about the Navy. So I know that a lot of you guys want to go back home, but I promise you, out of my experience of never being back home, out of my almost 11 years of service, I am very thankful I never went back. And if you are one of the people that has left your hometown and loved your duty station where you're at and feel like you agree with me, I want you to write down your comments below, because I feel like too many people are like trying to go back home to mom and dad or something. It's kind of frustrating. And also, I want to say, leaving A school, the benefit for you is that you're probably going to not have to worry about what's quote unquote good for your career. And yes, kind of if you're looking for a specific military job experience, like where that command, the only function they do is that one thing you want to do, obviously go for that. But I'm talking about more so location. So let me give an example for me. Like when I left San Diego, California from a shore duty, it was not desirable to go to Rota, Spain Hospital, another shore duty. I should have went to a sea duty command where, yes, Rota, Spain is where I want to go location-wise. It's not always the best for your career. So understand that this is the one time you kind of get to pick your location if it's available. Some of the more rare stuff that's hard to get, for some people I heard multiple times while I was in Europe, there are people that served 20 years and that was their final tour, and they were like, I've been trying to get this my entire time in the Navy and I finally got it the last time. Or people that have never had the opportunity. So I would suggest maybe try and find something that's more rare that you're not going to see that often, and pick that. Now let's move on to talking about applying from your first command. This happens faster than you think. Don't click away just yet. I know you guys want to click away, but I promise you guys, you're going to come back to this video when you're picking orders, or you're going to think about this video when you're picking orders. So stay tuned, because your first duty station is going to be very quick, so be ready. So you're going to get 3 shots. You're going to get it at your 12-month mark out from when you're supposed to leave. Now, to know when you're supposed to leave your command, when you get your orders from A school, there's something called a PRD, projected rotation date. This will have a month and a year. So that way you can understand when you should be leaving that command. So you have 2-year orders, 3-year orders, maybe even 1-year orders. That's something that you're going to want to look at, like the first thing on the first page of your orders. I can't show any orders here, but just to give some insight, if you need help looking on your orders, you can use Control F on the computer or just have someone show you. So you're going to select at your 12-month, at your 10-month, and then at your 8-month. So it's every other month. This is done through a system called CMSID. You're going to hear a lot about this. If you don't know how to find it, someone can show you. You can use Google and find it. And this system is used to select and also tell the detailer, the person that gives you orders, what you're wanting to get. Now you can select your preferences and your specialties and all that kind of stuff that you can put in there. And then they're going to have a cycle. So there's a calendar of when you can and cannot apply. The open application period, once it hits, you're going to want to get on there as soon as possible. That way you can see everything that's up there. From this point, I'd write down everything that you want, because that will be key to kind of filter out everything else. Now at this point, you should be selecting the ones that you can apply for. Now that means if you're on shore duty, and I see this with a lot of corpsmen, they love that hospital life, and then the Navy says, we need something out of you, like a deployment or to go to a ship or whatever else, and you're scared to go do that. Go to sea duty. I promise you, it's another work job, it's another day. Yes, it can be stressful, but don't be scared of it. Now take this list, I show it to your leadership to make sure that you're applying for stuff that you are actually eligible for, and that way you totally understand it. It's not just something that sounds cool just from a little title, and that way you really understand. Your leadership can kind of tell you if you should or should not select that. One thing that I did when I was picking orders when I was a third class pay officer, E4, and I was looking to go to my second duty station, was I called the commands that I was applying to and I said, hey, can I talk to somebody here and kind of understand what the job is, what they're expecting, what's the work life like, when or how often are your deployments, what's your schedule, what are you guys about to do right now, like just to kind of get that mindset of like, hey, in 6 months, will I be deployed, will I not, will I, you can kind of gauge from there and get a good insight. But I will say there's two kinds of people that you're probably going to run into when you talk to them. There's going to be the one person that's really salty, that's going to tell you don't select this place, even if it could be something really amazing. Or it could be someone that is just trying to be really mean and turn something like 29 Palms into the most amazing duty station they've ever been to. And that does summarize every duty station. It's what you make it. So yes, you could be the worst place, but if you're going to say I'm the worst place every single day, guess what? It's going to be the worst place. Now, I said that you should select 5 slots. So there's some specialties like mine and others where you may have a special NEC or specialty code, which shrinks your order sets to what you can apply for. Now, what I want to say about that is you're supposed to select the 5, but if there's not enough, then you should contact your detailer and they will kind of guide you through that process. Or they may say it's okay, only select what you're available for, because they obviously understand that. But I will say for you guys that maybe have a full list, like corpsmen, for example, that don't have any specialty, you have pages of what you can select from. So if you're having 5 slots and you're not selecting 5, that may put you at needs of the Navy, because they're going to say, well, you didn't even select all 5. At the same token, if you do select one that you're not really stoked on and you get selected, it's a catch-22. I'm sorry to say that, but that's just how the game works. And obviously, like I said earlier in the video, people have to be stationed at the really good places, and people also have to be stationed at the really bad places. And that is kind of the bad part of this entire process. Now, let's say you really like your first command. I will say you can extend while you're there. Obviously, that would be right after your chain of command and sent to PERS to extend you there, but you have to do that before you're even available for orders. Again, it's amazing to look at orders and see what you're available for, and you could be passing up some opportunities. Say there's something that's really cool up there, but you won't know about it unless you get that extension put in. And I will say, when I was in Rota, our CO, when we were there, or when I first got there, did not approve extensions. Obviously, PERS has the final approval, but he felt that people should rotate in the Navy. People should have an opportunity to experience Rota. If you're staying there for long periods of time, you're not giving everyone that shot, that opportunity. So that was his mindset. I'm not saying every CO has that mindset, but that was just one barrier I'd like to share with you, because things can change even though you would like to extend or stay at some place. Next, if there are multiple orders on that list that are the same exact billet, for example, like when I was a pharmacy technician and I was applying, and there were 3 Jacksonville Naval Hospital billets, the same command code and everything, you should not select Jacksonville 3 times if that's what you want, because you're really wasting your options of other things you could select even though you want that. If you put that on your list, obviously they know you could be one of those 3 that gets plugged in there. but you selecting the same place over and over again is not going to do you justice. Now, you will want some diversity. If all you put is San Diego, trust me, there's a lot of people that want San Diego. You're going to want to kind of diversify a little bit, but still show your preference. Put your San Diego as your number 1, 2, maybe 3, and that way also in your preferences you say, I want Southern California. And that way it's understood, hey, I want these, but I've got a little deviation of these over here that I may take as well. Because trust me, the detailers need spots to fill. If you're being super picky, you may become needs of the Navy, even if you select 5 spots and say you get passed over and don't get selected. You'll have to talk with your detailer at that point as well and figure out what they would like to do with you, or if they want you to select the next cycle. And specifically for corpsmen as well, because I have a lot of corpsmen that watch this video, if you want to C school for corpsmen, I know other rates, you can kind of get your C schools in between commands without much paperwork or, like fuss or any issues. But for corpsmen specifically, when we go to our specialty school, we're kind of like, we do that school, then we do that specific job. So if you want that, you're supposed to put in a package. My rule of thumb would be 1.5 years before you're going to leave your command. So if that could give you some good gauge on what to expect, definitely start working on your package earlier rather than later, because once you are in that 12-month window to select orders, whether you want to extend or put in a C-school package or whatever else, they're probably going to say no because you're already considered pretty much a loss at that point. Alright guys, I hope that this helped you guys out. Obviously, very in-depth, a lot of information for you guys, but I hope that this helped you guys out. If you do have questions about picking orders or maybe duty stations or whatever else, you can always hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.